Okie doke, ABC 123. Insider trading. I don't know what version we're on, but it's 2024, 729. Okay. So, a few things working on. Possibility of using tranches on purchasing. So, limited supply and demand. You buy more, supply starts running out, price goes up. You sell more on commodities, and demand starts getting saturated, goes down, price goes down. With this current version, I simplified it a whole bunch just to see what I can do with it. I still think it'd be nice to, I don't know, it seems really sad that like you have to simplify this much just to get the very basic, or just to get it simple enough for people to play. So I took out the metal and gears and factories and mines and stuff. Okay, so with this current version, instead of tranches where it's like steadily increasing prices and steadily decreasing prices, this one it's just a hard stop. I just calculated out. So thinking about for commodities, it's a per turn hard stop, and for structures, it's a total limit hard stop. So in this game, however many players are playing, so if you've got 2 players, it'd be 20 times 2. If you've got 5 players, it'd be 20 times 5. We have this many farms total in the game. So if you have 5 players playing, once the 100th farm has been purchased, there's no more farms for purchase, and players have to start either working on other stuff like bakeries, or they have to trade with each other and make deals and things. Same with bakeries, player count times 10. So however many players you have times 10 is the hard limit. For bread, you can sell up to 50 times the player count for bread, and for wheat, you can sell up to 20 times the player count for wheat. Okay. Okay, so those are a few changes. Okay, and then in the past I've done so these right now are the companies. I just shortened it to first letters for simplification. But normally I do these vertical. So like I think I had like ABC, XYZ, dog, and cat for companies. I just turn them sideways. Mostly because the quantities, it's a lot easier doing math vertically. Okay, and then as far as notation goes, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but so one idea I had was, so in this player 1 had purchased farms, so 6 farms for $300. Or no, so the player didn't buy it. The player bought 3 shares of company A. Infused the company with $300 in cash with their controlling interest. They bought 6 farms. With those 6 farms, oh shoot, I forgot operating expenses, but let's say they can hold it over from the year over. So with those 6 farms, they produced 6 wheat, and then for notation, instead of writing 6 minus 6, I just thought you could just cross it out, and then that could be a good notation symbol for they're producing 6, but they're also selling 6. And then for money per turn, they're producing $12 per turn. And then for their share price, the share price is, or the company value is equivalent to cash on hand, or the equivalent to starting price of $100 plus or minus per turn profit. So per turn profit or loss. So if you're losing $3 per turn, then your company, your share value is 100 minus 3, so 97 type thing. And then personally, I prefer to just do running totals. So you just write a bunch of numbers. So 100 plus 12, so like 12 minus 3, 5, 6, 7, and stuff. And then once you have enough, then you can start cross canceling and stuff. For me, it's just easier just to kind of run the math in my head and things. Okay, then for players, I often forget the per turn amount. So all of these, I was thinking the left side could be per turn. So this is 6 wheat per turn minus 6 wheat per turn. And then running counts would be on the right. So if they had any leftover wheat per turn, they didn't sell it or anything, then it'd be stockpiled on the right. And then you can just add and subtract as it goes. And then same with bread, per turn count on the left, um, running total on the right, per turn cash, and then total cash on the right, and then share price. Then per turn income. I was thinking eventually players might want to do per turn dividends, and then cash on hand. So again, like, you know, 1,000 minus 300. So like instead of having to rewrite it every single time with like 700 and then whatever, most people can figure out that 10 minus 3 is 7. Then shares. So like again, you have the cards, and the cards can make a big difference. So like for example, the tranches. It'd be a lot easier with cards to just label the cards and then stack them in a certain order. So at the top of the decks, like the first, say 5, 10 cards, are cheaper prices and stuff. And then you can also change operating expenses and things like that. So cheaper prices. And then the lower cards are where you start running out of the cheap stuff, and then you have to start spending more money. So you can adjust operating expenses and purchase and sell prices and stuff. Just to write it all on the board would be insane. Cause like this whole chart is just for a single tranche of all these commodities. If you were to have, say, 10 tranches, then this chart right here would take up this much space, and you'd have no room for anything else. Okay, what else? Yeah, and then this is just quantity chart. I was thinking you do tick marks again with the cards. You just grab the card. So whoever's physically holding the card, actually, whichever company is physically holding the card, that would be who has it and the totals and stuff like that. I think that might be it. Okay. Yeah. So you have teams or players. I still think it'd be fun to have teams where each player is, say, like 5, 6 people, and to do it as a party game. That you can't do it single players where you have like maybe like 2, 3 people playing, and each person's only doing one company, and you're taking turns and going slow. But I like it when you're going fast and it's like complete chaos. Yeah, so we got teams or players. Buy stocks, and then the stocks can buy buildings or structures or whatever you want to call it. So factories and bakeries and mines and land or farms, and then stuff is dollars, wheat, bread, ore or metal, and gears. And then this is just if 2 players put in all their money to buy all, what's it called? If 2 players put in all, so their starting capital of $1,000, if 2 players put in all their capital to just buy farms, then you could essentially get 40 farms total, and with that 40 farms you could produce 40 wheat per turn and things like that, and that's kind of where I got the running totals. So essentially once $2,000 is spent on farming, then you're at your max pretty much. So I kind of wanted a little bit of leeway so that like there's a little bit of a like warm-up period where things don't get complicated too quickly, but I do want pretty quickly players having to start hitting walls and stuff, and then having to start negotiate and strategize around each other and stuff. And then another area I thought with the trenches was if the beginner, if like the early stuff costs less, So like the first 10 farms bought cost less than the last 10 farms bought. Then one strategy could be you go in early on certain buildings or commodities or whatever, and you get contracts and things like that. So you buy a whole bunch of stuff very early on in the game, and then later, after other players have bought all this stuff, then you can sell the cheap stuff at a higher price. So you can buy a farm for, say, instead of 50, you can buy a farm for, say, 30. And then later on in the game, players are desperate and they buy farms for, say, 60. And then they say the market now has a need for 10 more farms at the price of 60 per farm, and so you can sell your cheap farms, your cheaply purchased farms, for the high value and stuff, and then you could possibly transfer over into metal manufacturing and stuff. Yeah. Also, the idea was that possibly the more expensive farms could have higher operating expenses as well. So, say like you buy farmland cheap and nearby, and then over time either the price of land goes up, so like property taxes and things and just traffic and things go up, or there's just no more land available nearby, so you have to buy land further away, so like out of state or something, and you have to ship the stuff back in to state. Yeah, so just yeah, okay, and then let's just go through a turn real quick. So, we kind of did. So, yeah, player one spends $300 to buy 3 shares of company A. So they buy 3 shares of company A. Then they gain controlling interest. I don't know. In the game, there's a card. Then with that $300, they purchase 6 farms for a price. So they spend all $300 for 6 farms. Then with those 6 farms, they produce 6 wheat, and then they sell that 6 wheat for a. So this is the part where I skipped a whole bunch of math. I mean, like, no, I did the math, but I just didn't write it on the board. So wheat from a farm costs $10 to produce. So it costs $10 to run a farm to produce 1 wheat. So each farm produces 1 wheat at a price of $10 an hour, or $10 per wheat. And then on the open market, you can sell wheat for $12. So it costs 10, sell for 2, or sell for 12. You get a profit of $2 per wheat. You're producing 6 wheat per turn from 6 farms. So 6 times 2 is 12. So you get a total of 12 per turn. That right there is really, really complicated, especially when you got dozens of different calculations to go, and then you have to figure out dividends, share prices, and stuff like that. So we gotta work on that. Yeah, and then the shares go up to $112 a share, and that's turn 1. Few ideas on strategy. So one thought is you could just go all in, so you could just spend a whole $1,000, say on company B, or like, let's say, no, okay, so let's say player 2 jumps all in on company B, and let's say he buys, let's say he goes farms also, because that's just a nice even number. Oh, yeah, he goes with farms for 50 a piece, so it'd be 20, right? I think. No. 5 times 2 is 1 plus 0, yeah. So he buys 20 farms. So he buys 20 farms at a profit of $2 a loaf, so he produces 20 wheat per turn, not loaf, like bushel, at a rate of $20, no, yeah, so basically profit of 40 per turn, starts off at 100 plus 40, so So shares are 40. He's got 20 shares of B and controlling interest. And this money is spent. And he has 0. So he's got $0 in his pocket, 20 shares of company B with controlling interest. Need a CO. I don't know. So some kind of symbol for controlling interest. At the end of his turn, his portfolio value is 20 times, so 20 times 100 is 1,000, right? That should be, no. Oh, no. He put, no, 1,000. He has 10 shares. Yeah, he's got 10 shares. Yeah, there we go. So his portfolio value is $1,400. Yeah, so he started with 1,000. By turn 2, he has $1,400 in his portfolio. Player 2 starts with 1,000, ends with so 7 plus 3, 36. So he's got $1,036 at the end of turn 1. He's got $1,400 at the end of turn 1, or beginning of turn 2. Yeah. Then like he might sell some of his high price shares. Yeah. Okay, because there's open market. Okay, so yeah. Okie doke. I think that's it. So long, farewell.